Now we're recording, George. Now we're recording. We just recorded 15 minutes of this podcast, 17 minutes to be exact. 17 minutes of this podcast just to find out that the record button wasn't on, so this thing was not recording.
It's a great
way to start.
Great way to start.
The comeback. So, life update, Georgie. We've been gone for 7 months, 8 months. We stopped at like episode 12 or 13, but we're back. The problem with podcasts is you have to be consistent. You have to consistently be pushing them out. And when Liverpool is having an absolute nightmare in the Premier League, you decide you don't want to show your face anymore because you don't want to answer the question, are you worried?
I'm still not worried, by the way, if anyone actually still
How big of a
wonders.
disappointment was that season for Liverpool? What did they finish in anyway? Like 6th, 7th?
I don't even know.
More than
The thing is, I would rather not be in Europa League, so I wish we finished like 10th.
Don't give me that.
I do not want, like,
Champions League or nothing?
it's like you play Thursday, then you play Sunday. It's like the whole schedule. And Liverpool don't spend money to have like squad depth anyway. So it's gonna be very, very tough again we had like 7 or 8 players leave this transfer window. We only brought
I
in
know.
like 3 or 4.
Some big names too. Henderson left.
Henderson, Fabinho,
Milner. Your boy Milner, who's been there for a long time now.
Yeah, now he's playing for Brighton right
Yep.
back, like doing amazing there. It's like a lot of veterans that have so much experience in the locker room and helped out Jurgen Klopp and with the locker room and stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But I'm very happy with the transfer that
Sounds
were brought in.
like there's already a couple excuses
It's just
on why this season is not going to be a success.
Too many players out, not too many in. That's the problem. And
Well, Liverpool's always said, Jurgen Klopp has always said, the money. He's like, we cannot compete with some of
Yeah.
these other teams. We don't have that type of money.
it is.
You lost your boy Jude,
Yeah.
who was this close. It looked like he was this close.
Yeah. We just bid on Moises Caicedo supposedly before he went to Chelsea for over 100 million.
And then Chelsea swooped in.
And supposedly they already out. It doesn't really matter.
They
But-
said he said Chelsea or nothing, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Supposedly Chelsea and him were talking the whole entire summer, and Liverpool came in the last moment trying to get him, and he wanted to give Chelsea the option of
Yeah, he had already
trying
had
to get-
personal talks agreed or whatever, personal terms. Anyway, listen, before we get into the Prem, we got to do a recap on where we've been because it's been 7 months.
It's been a
and
while.
People have not seen us. My YouTube channel's dead,
Yeah.
which is what this is going on.
Yeah.
But let me give my update really quickly on the YouTube channel. So like I stopped uploading maybe consistently 2 or 3 years ago now. YouTube is great. It's a lot of work. It's not like I can just take a picture on like Instagram or like a quick little short form video on TikTok. It was like 7 or 8 minute videos consistently that I had to edit and film and all of that. And I got to the point where I was not enjoying it anymore because I had given everything that I had to YouTube. Like when I was doing the training sessions and things like that, I literally had run out of ideas on what to do. So every time I went out onto the field, I felt like I was recording the same video over and over. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It was just once I was done, I was like, this is kind of cool because all my content still lives on YouTube. So it's still out there for everyone to see. So if you've never seen any of my videos, you can go and watch all of the videos. And, there's hundreds of videos on there. But when people are like, why aren't you posting anymore? It's just because I really don't have any more content to post. So it was on to the next adventure, which was liquid football. Georgie, give us a little rundown of how the liquid football season went.
Oh, on the field, it was, I thought it went really well. Obviously, we didn't start off the best. The first few games was pretty rough. We won the first one, lost the second one. Then we tied one of, pretty much the bottom teams in the league. And at that point, we were thinking like, all right, what's going to happen next? And because, when you first start a team, you're always thinking like, oh, at least you want to finish top 2, top 3. And that was always the goal. And in the end, ever since that draw, I think we went undefeated. What was it, 8 or 9 games that we've played? We won 7 of them and we tied 2. So we ended the season really well. And we ended up in second. I think it was 2 points behind the first place team, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So we pushed them until the end, and I think on the field it was really cool because we had the tryouts. We brought a lot of players from the tryouts to the team. It wasn't like we already had the team established, and we were kind of late into the recruitment process,
Right.
To begin with. So it was kind of cool to see the team come together and train. Like you would think that trainings wouldn't be, there wouldn't be many people, but we consistently had
Yeah.
18 to 25 people.
Yep.
Most of, like the first few weeks we had a lot more, and then it started to kind of, some people were, obviously summer's out, so they
Yeah.
want to go on vacation and do this and that. But that was very cool to see that we can, consistently get that many people at training. And I think it was an amazing experience for a lot of those people playing at such level, getting the coaching and being part of a team, of this level. And again, on the field, everything was great. Off the field, I think it was really, really good just because we've never done any of this. Like we thought about starting something, and then little by little the pieces started to come together. Like we didn't really see it. Like if you look back from January and you're thinking about how the season is going to go, I don't think you would have thought, oh, this is exactly how you planned it out. Like
Yeah.
there's just, like we're going to talk about, so many people came together, so many volunteers were, there to help us out throughout the season. And, where it's the volunteers or finding home fields and random people coming to help us out. Like your parents drove like from Chicago to come help us out, like a few games and then tryouts. Like there's just so many pieces to it that you don't really think about in the beginning that you're going to need help with. But I think overall it was an amazing season. I don't think anybody's going to, forget about it. And I think liquid football is going to just, take it onto the next level every single year that we play, just because you have the experience. More people know, players wise, more people know who we are now. First year to get second place in a pretty competitive league, that's pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, it was a fun year. It started rocky in terms of the on-field results because we were still getting our team together, and we didn't have all of the players that we really wanted in order for us to be as competitive as we wanted to be. So, as Georgie said, we had tryouts, and we brought a lot of those guys to be the core of the team. And then we had a few maybe local guys, but really, the tryouts helped us form the team. Like, because I'm just thinking, even in the first 4 or 5 weeks of training, had we not brought a lot of those guys from tryouts, we would have had maybe 5 or 6 guys at training.
Yeah.
So it was nice because once we got that core established, then they started bringing some friends, and then they started bringing a couple more people. We started recruiting a little bit more. And after the first 3 games, the season went really, really well. So I think the thing that I'm most proud of was not necessarily the on-field thing, because I think between you and I and some of the people that we know, we have enough connections to put a good team together. So that was never really going to be the question. It was always just going to be a matter of time, right? Like towards the end, we had some really good players on the team. I think for me, the thing that I was the most proud of was the fact that we were consistent with everything, like website, social media, our advertising, the way we set up on game days, like everything was very consistent. And even if you go onto the website now, you can go into like our schedule, and in the schedule, it tells you all of the results. And if you click on the result, it'll give you an article about that match as well. So shout out to Jimmy for all of the articles. He wrote a pre-match preview and then a post-match recap for every single game. And then we would make sure we always uploaded it to the website, and we posted on social media almost daily, pretty much.
Yeah.
And we were always consistent about making sure we posted the starting 11, make sure we posted the halftime score, so I think it was done really, really well, is what I'm saying. And I think if you look at a lot of the other teams in the league, you won't be like, it was hard for us to find out what the score was of another game.
Yeah,
because
alone.
nobody was posting it on their social media. So I think that was one of the things that we did really well. And the other thing that we did really well was the apparel. So obviously you guys know Georgie owns Champion Grind, and Champion Grind was our main provider, or our only provider. And we focused very, very heavily on the appearance of our merch. So maybe just talk a little bit about that process.
I mean, when did we start this? Like the designs? It was September.
June, no, we started. I think it was. I think we started the design process in like June. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking about like literally a year away from when the season. That was before we even won accepted into the league, before we even set up the Liquid Football name, like as an establishment, as an organization. That was before anything. Like we didn't know anything. We're like, all right, let's think about what the design is going to be. And obviously you came up with the design, and then trying to make it and bring it to like real life, getting samples, because you got to think like there's a lot of details onto, obviously that's the pre-match warm-up, but a lot of details into that, a lot of details for the training, for the kit, and getting the samples. You want to make sure it's the right size. You want to make sure all the little details are perfect. Whether you want elastic sleeves, whether it's the logo's a bit different, it's TPU, so we didn't really know how it's gonna look in terms of when you wash it, and then we ran into problems with like stuff like that. So it was very, very tough because we would get a sample and we wanted to make a change. We made a change. We're like, oh, maybe different material. And then we changed the material. It didn't really work out. And you got to always kind of like I think we had 10 samples of like just little small changes every single time. And that alone takes time because every sample is like 3 weeks. You got to wait.
Yeah.
And it's tough. But in the end, the final product, seeing people buying that and wearing it to games, that I don't think there's a better feel than like seeing anything of the sort.
That was really cool. Like when we got to the games and people who had already bought our jerseys showed up to the games wearing the jerseys in support.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Like there's no price on any of that.
Yeah.
And
I think the other thing was I was super happy that I knew when we were selling the jerseys or when we were giving them to the players, all of their kit, that they were going to be happy with the quality of it, because you see a lot of people online making really cool designs and they look really, really cool in the 3D mock-up. But then when they actually go and print it out, they save a lot of money because they cut a lot of important things out.
Yeah.
Like maybe, for example, everything is sublimated or the material's not great. So when you actually get it in person, it doesn't look as good as it does on the 3D mock-up. For us, I think one of the things we wanted to make sure was that the actual mock-up, it actually looks better in person than what you're seeing in the 3D file. So like Georgie said, I don't know if some of you guys might be listening to this on Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see, but this pre-match top that we have, like the logo is a very specific type of, it's almost like a rubber.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. It like changes color in the light. We have like elastic sleeves and we have like authentic product tags and embroidery on some parts of it. So it was really cool to work on all the details for each type of, whether it was the pre-match top or the training kit. Every single piece that we made, we were really happy with. We didn't just kind of let them make a design for us and then just approve it. We focused on the design, even from the smallest details of the actual like template or the print that we used. So that was really cool. If you guys are looking to get some stuff, there's still a couple of jerseys I think online for sale. Our website is www.theliquidfootball.com. So
and the thing is, like, through Champion Grind, now that I'm getting to the soccer side, there's not that many teams that, I don't know if they want to go through the process of like making sure that the kit is exactly as they want, or the material, or the elastic sleeves, or the logo, or embroidery. Like a lot of them, like obviously now I'm getting into it more and more and talking to a lot of people every day, but a lot of them are just like, yeah, and they send me a random design of something that we've done before. Like, we've had a bunch of people reach out, like I told you, oh, I want to just like liquid football. It's like, they don't, it's just weird to me that like, this is like, you can custom make something and make it your own. Instead, you want to, so that's a good feel as well, that, you created something that other teams are looking at and like, oh, wow, that's dope. I want my jersey to be like that. I want my training top to be like that. Right. And I like those questions, like regular. Oh, I want it just like that. It's like, you have the power to do anything you want, but you're choosing to do something that's already been done. Yeah,
I think a lot of people, one, it's a process, so they don't want to go through that whole process. They just want to get the jerseys right away. And they're okay with, some of the quality. They're like, like we were not happy unless the quality was absolutely perfect. Like Georgie said, we went through, it was probably good in terms of just the jersey. Just the jersey was like 7 or 8 samples of just the jersey. So we went and we were making changes left and right, even trying different materials. And so it all worked out. And I think that was one of the biggest compliments that we got all season was our jerseys and our apparel was really, really nice. I didn't hear a single complaint. The only thing that we did struggle with a little bit is the sizing, right?
Yeah.
The sizing was a bit small at times, and we have to remember that the jerseys for the players will be fine because the players are in good shape, right? They're soccer players, so this is what they do. But then if you're just a casual fan wearing the jersey, the fit has to be slightly different than a player, because otherwise it's like super tight and it doesn't look super flattering, does it?
And Champion Grind runs a bit small. So
And
if
Georgie,
you're
here's the thing. Georgie also when he created the sizing for Champion Grind, he did it based on him
Myself.
him being in his prime as a professional footballer. So it's like when he's selling the stuff, it's like, Georgie, the sizes are
they're based on me and Cyrus's size
exactly.
when we used to have it at DCFC, and it's
So-
funny to see.
So we did fix the sizing for the jerseys and for all of the stuff. But if you're gonna buy something, I would suggest maybe ordering a size up if you don't want it too tight, unless you're in really good shape. But that's up to whoever buys it, right? So Liquid Football was great. I will talk at some point in this podcast, not today, but another podcast on its own, probably, the finances of it, because the finances were really important. We had done everything from the coaching, from the playing, setting up a team, recruiting, all of that stuff we had already, we know how to do. It was the business side of things that we were like, okay, how is this going to go? Because obviously you have meetings before and you say, this is how much we can budget, this is how much we're going to spend, this is how much we're going to get from sponsors. But then when the season comes around and you're like, I didn't think about this cost, or I didn't think about that cost, it can get
There's always something random that pops up.
Yeah.
Always.
So just a snippet. I think we ended up, and again, I'm not afraid to be honest and tell people how much we spent and all of that. I could show the finances and everything, because there's someone out there who is looking to do the same thing. And if they have this advice, or if they have all of this information, it can help them. I actually got on a Zoom call a couple weeks ago with a guy who was starting his own team, and he was just curious about how we did things, what the finances was. So I gave him all the documents and everything. So, yeah, I mean, we spent, I think the total amount that we spent for a summer season, 3 months, was about $20,000. $20,000 was what we spent for everything in terms of the field rental, referees, apparel. And then we ended up making, not necessarily making, but like the amount that I invested, plus the amounts that we got from the sponsors, plus everything that came in as a plus, was like 18 or 19,000, somewhere around there. So we lost a little bit of money, obviously, but that's just going to help us. So next year, the plan is to lose a little bit less money, right? So we're not losing as much, and then eventually try and break even, and then just always have some money in the account so we can be ready for the next season, so we can be a little bit more sustainable. But I think we're okay, and we're excited for season 2, for sure.
And we're going to talk about it more in depth on a different episode, but we had, how many home games? 5 overall?
We had 6 home games.
6, and 2 or 3 of them was the weather was so bad that nobody came to the games. So
we got unlucky.
We got unlucky. You're talking about, people coming in tickets wise. You're talking about potentially, sales for kits or zip ups or whatever. So, and obviously like 2-3 games, you're looking at whatever decent amount of money that was lost just because of bad weather. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's like, it's kind of just luck.
Like the home opener, for example, was really nice weather. So the home opener, we made some pretty good money. And that was exciting to see, because we made more money than what we spent to put that game together, the field rentals, referees, and everything. So I was like, well, if we do this 6 more times, this should be pretty straightforward. However, we got rained on 2 of those games, or 2 or 3 of those games, where we had like barely any fans, and nobody bought merch. And then one of those games we bought concessions, because we were like, we're going to sell concessions. So I went and spent like $100 on concessions. It's off camera right now. I don't think you could see. I don't think you could see on either of them. But we went to buy concessions, and then it rained on us, and like I think one person bought a water bottle.
Who do you think is eating the concessions?
So we got all the concessions over here for all the stuff that's left over. So we're just going to use it for our guests on the podcast, and I mean that'll be gone in a couple weeks. But things that you don't think about, or things that you try and plan as best as you can. But I mean, we didn't realize that we were going to spend, I think it was total of like $5,000 on just the apparel and the stuff that we were going to sell. We thought it was going to be a lot less, but then when you want to sell it to people, and then when you want to buy a little bit more for the players, things like that. And one of the coolest things that I was really happy about was that we were never stingy on stuff that we thought was going to provide a good experience for everyone. So like we went out and we had a couple team meals. So we had a cookout here at my place where we did media day. And then we also did a team meal at one of our sponsors. And those are the things that we spend money on
the players.
On the players, yeah. And then later on in the season, we also wanted to buy pizza at the end of games. We provided snacks for both teams during our home games. So little things that add up to a lot of money. But I felt like we were good about never saying like, we just don't want to spend the money, and then have the players suffer a little bit. So those are just kind of some extra things that we did to make sure that the players were excited to go to games and were happy and they felt like they were taken care of. Same with the staff.
And we didn't charge the players anything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of teams that are charging, players monthly or weekly or
Right.
whatever. We never asked for anything. So I think that's pretty cool to, want to be a part of, and to also, like, on both sides, like, as somebody who is like, that owns the team, to be able to be like, all right, I'm gonna get training kits, pre-match tops, or whatever. And the training kits, we get them 2 each, right? Is that what it was, or just top and shorts?
No, but anytime they needed something, we ordered enough to give them a couple extra.
Yeah.
So if they ever needed like an extra pair of shorts or a shirt, we gave that stuff to them for free.
So
We got the dinosaur kid up here again. Security, can you please remove the dinosaur kid? Oh, he snuck up here as soon as he saw you leave.
dinosaurs.
Oh, we got 2 dinosaur kids up here now.
Well,
So if you guys don't know, I have 2 kids now, and one of them just looked at Georgie and started crying.
yo,
Straight up, ugly man in front of him was like,
yo,
"All right, I'm gonna start crying."
That's messed up. That's my boy Lobo, man.
That's funny. All right, Roman, go downstairs with Mama so she can put some dinosaurs on. Go downstairs with Mama.
That's messed up, Lobo. That's messed
That's
up.
funny. He just looked at you. Okay.
That's usually Moises. Moy, that's usually you. You look at the kids and they start crying.
Puppy, go with Mama. All right, 30-second break.
Kids, they said. Have kids, they said. Ah.
I need to get a lock for that door now. These kids can open it and close it. All right, Georgie, where were we before the dinosaur kids interrupted here?
No idea.
I lost track as well. We were talking about liquid football. What
Oh,
was
yeah,
it?
liquid football that we, everybody had
Oh, yeah.
kids.
Took
or
care of the
whatever.
people. Took care of the people. So it was a good, the thing about it was there was 3 months of, not 3 months, 3 months of the season was like super intense. We were on it every single day. The planning part took a lot more than 3 months. But it was nice at the end of the season for us to just take a break.
Yeah.
We had to take a break.
You have to. Just to get away and do absolutely nothing, really. There's no way you can keep that up for...
Yeah.
There just needs to be a lot more pieces to it in
Right.
order to maintain. Because it was, training 2-3 times a week, and then playing a game. And then some of the games are, far away. So there's just so many...
Yeah.
It just took a lot.
It took a lot. We did really well with the social media. That was another compliment that we got, was our social media was good and it was consistent. And there was about, I would say, somewhere between 10 to 12 people on staff who helped make all of this possible, and all of them were volunteers. So that was the cool part, is that it started with just you and I, and then we got Brittany, and then we got Moises on board. And then from there, people started reaching out of like, I just want to help. And the way we looked at it was like, what do you want to do that's going to help you in the future get a job that you want to get? Or what do you want to get out of the summer? Instead of just saying like, oh, we need you to do this or we need you to do that. So everybody was working in a role that they enjoyed. And obviously there was some times during game days where everybody had to do a little bit more. But one of the coolest compliments that I got, I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Sonny right now, was Sonny came on as an assistant coach and he wanted to get some experience. And I told him, I remember having a conversation with him and just telling him, like, if this helps you get whatever coaching job you want to get or more experience, then that's the goal, right? And I think one of our last home games, he looked over at myself and Pedro, the assistant coach, and he was like, Javi, I just want to let you know that thanks to my experience at Liquid Football, I got a full-time job as a coach, or I got a hired as a coach for a club team in the area. So that was really cool. That was kind of like full circle of what the whole point of Liquid Football was trying to be.
And now he's the number 9 for evaporated
And
football.
now, and that's the crazy thing. So Sonny is a legend. He's an absolute legend. And during the season, obviously, we ordered a certain amount of jerseys with numbers already set, and then we ordered extra numbers. And you don't forget about, the 10 or the 9, or Georgie wants his 99, right, or the 7. But nobody wore the number 9 the whole season. Nobody wore the number 9.
And that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because we had players who wanted it, but I feel like there's certain numbers that you have to give a little bit more respect to, right? And so nobody wore it. And then, unfortunately, Sonny did not. We were going to sub him in the last game.
We were.
We ran out of time. Everybody else subbed in, basically. We ran out of time. He's going to play at some point for Liquid Football.
First game of next year.
First game next year. But we did give Sonny the number 9 jersey. So he was the only player to ever put that jersey on for Liquid Football. So I thought that was kind of cool.
It's pretty dope. And you missed his assist last week.
Yeah, he kept talking about his assist.
Yeah, he got an assist.
We also have a staff team called Evaporated Football that we play on like a co-ed league for just all the staff, and it's a good time to just kick the ball around and mess around a little bit, especially because the staff, most of our staff actually, or not most of our staff, but a lot of our staff has not actually played the sport before. So it's quite fun to watch for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
So let's move on from. We'll do more episodes talking about Liquid Football. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that, I mean, feel free to let us know so we can answer them on starting your own team and building. But let's get into the Prem, because we always talk about the Prem on here. Big day, because obviously it's the deadline day for the transfers. For the transfer window's about to close today. Your thoughts, Georgie? Let's just go over probably some of the better transfers and maybe some of the not so great transfers.
I mean, like, it's just insane to me that we're talking about, like, I just looked at my phone and it was official that Sangare from PSV, who just qualified for the Champions League, is leaving, a place in the Champions League just to play for Brentford in the Premier League. Like, that just tells you, like, the pool that the Premier League has.
Yeah.
In terms of everybody wants to play here. Unless they're offering you $100 million a year and you can go play in Saudi Arabia. That's a different.
We'll get into that topic in a little bit.
But like, it's just insane to me that you're leaving Champions League football and PSV, which is a pretty big team. It's not like you're talking about some random team,
right?
Just to play for Brentford, who are usually fight for like in the relegation battle just to stay in the Premier League, and that's just insane to me that players are willing to, I don't want to say downgrade, because
it shows how important people see the Premier League as a step in the right direction for their career, regardless of what team it is, right?
And everybody wants to be here. It's not like that's the top of the top. There's nothing. Like, this guy is leaving the Champions League, where you would think that that's what you want to play as a kid. No, Champions League, best teams in the world are playing there. But, coming to the Premier League, it's that to me is like just insane.
Let's go actually into your transfers. Liverpool, not too many transfers. I think the biggest ones probably are McAllister and Soboslai, right? That's it.
And we just got Ryan, what's his name, Gavrich from Bayern Munich.
Who the is that guy?
Actually, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but he's like
exactly my point exactly.
No, he's what's his name? I completely forgot.
Anyway, Liverpool's not many. I mean, and a lot of people.
This is the problem. This is the problem that. By the way, the Ryan guy is actually legit. I just don't know his last name.
So legit that George doesn't even know his last name.
He was like looked out to be one of the best players coming out of like, from the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. Like last year actually. So he went to Bayern Munich, and he didn't. Now with Tuchel there, he just said we don't play with number 8, and like hopefully he does well at Liverpool. And I actually like him a lot. He's a good player.
So rate the transfer window for Liverpool.
The problem with Liverpool's transfer window is the fact that we got rid of a lot of players and we brought in less players. And the problem with Liverpool is always squad depth. Yeah. Like, we do not have enough players to play on a Thursday and then on a Sunday. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
It-
you do
we-
have a big. You always have it. You always run into a lot of injuries.
Yeah, and we already do. Like Thiago's out, and
Yeah, Thiago's always out.
Yeah, he's been out for a while, but like hopefully he comes back this weekend. But the one big problem with Liverpool is we should have got a center back, and we should have got a six, a ball winning six, because Henderson wasn't a ball winning six, but he could play in the six. He left. Fabinho was our only player like that, and he's gone.
Yeah,
So now Liverpool do not have a six. We're literally going to be playing with McAllister, Dominic, and probably Thiago. I don't know. I don't know how he's going to line it up. Like we have Gakpo playing in the midfield just so McAllister's playing as a six. And McAllister's not a six. He's a ball playing six, but he's not a ball winner. So
he's a World Cup winner.
He's a World Cup winner. He's 30 million.
Yeah,
30
he's on my fantasy.
million.
He's on my fantasy team, and he got a red card.
That sucks. That's
Killing
tough.
me, man.
That's
killing
tough.
me. The one Liverpool player I have, and he gets a red card.
Good man.
So Liverpool, I mean, let's go expectations for Liverpool then. Based on the transfer window, based on where you guys are at right now, where do you think they're going to finish in the Prem this year?
Dominic, I think is. I'm not going to say it.
Do you get Champions League?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get Champions League.
So you're saying fourth place?
No. We're
You're not-
challenging.
You're not going higher than fourth.
We're,
No, you're not challenging.
we're
anyone.
challenging City.
You're challenging Manchester United, maybe.
We're challenging City. Listen, the thing with Liverpool is if somehow Klopp can figure out the midfield rebuild, what everybody's been asking for, is done. We got rid of the old guys. We brought in all the. Dominic is one like watching him for 3 games. That guy is a machine. He's up and down nonstop. He's not going to stop. He's going to play for 2 players. So I'm not worried about that. But I'm just worried about somebody that's just going to sit in front of the defense and protect. Because right now we don't have that. But with that being said, the rebuild is done. McAllister, Dominic, Ryan, Thiago hopefully stays healthy somehow. And then we have a bunch of young guys that, again, Curtis Jones, they can play in the 6. He played for the U21s as a 6. He was really good over in the summer. And then we have Stefan Bajatic, who was really good as well. But all young guys, again.
Yeah.
But
I don't think the rebuild is done. I think
midfield rebuild.
I think the rebuild for this season is as best as you're going to get it. But I think this process is going to take another 2 or it's similar. Not you're at a better place than when Jurgen Klopp took over, but it's similar where he's probably gone to the board and said, look, we need a couple years before we can be consistently challenging Manchester City every year. I think you guys need, like you said, I think you guys need a couple more players. So Liverpool, okay, but
Dominic,
not great.
Okay, what do you think about Dominic? I'm going to say
I've seen some of his highlights. He's good.
Steven Gerrard-esque.
He's good. I saw some of his highlights. He's very, very good.
I think he's like my favorite player now.
He's good.
Like McAllister's obviously really good, but the guy's just unreal. Like the 3 games I watched, and I'm just like if we didn't buy him, he would have ended up at like Man City. Like at some point.
I like him. I think he was good. But I think you guys are still missing. The problem is you guys still don't have. I mean, you could like if you would have gotten those players and you would have gotten Jude, I would have been like, okay, Liverpool's done a good job. But you lost Jude.
Yeah.
And so now you got.
So sad.
So, okay, not great. Jurgen Klopp has said many times that they cannot compete with some of the other teams in the transfer window. Fair enough. Let's move on away from Liverpool because Liverpool is not going higher than 4th this season. And we will halfway through if we're still recording episodes of this podcast halfway through, you'll see.
All right, let's talk about your Arsenal.
We did okay. We didn't do great. We got Kai Havertz, who I don't like. I never liked him. I never liked him at Chelsea.
That was a very confusing signing to me.
To be honest, I saw I saw Arteta's interview about him and how he was excited to get him, and that was a guy that was in their plans. I don't like him. I don't think there's enough output from him. I think he's like pretty good, but he's not. He's never going to be a guy that's going to really win a game for you. He's never going to be a guy that's really going to create enough opportunities to win a game for you. So I wasn't happy with that. I felt like we could have gone with someone else.
What does he do? What does he do different to this Arsenal team?
That's where I'm confused. I don't think he gives us anything extra. I think he's one of those players that maybe 3 or 4 years ago we would have gotten that would have helped us kind of slowly start getting in the right direction. I think now where we're actually challenging for the title and the season that we had last year, I don't think he helps us. I think like Trossard, when we got him, I thought that one was a good one because I think when he hasn't gotten that many starting opportunities, but when he subs in, he typically makes a difference. Kai Havertz, I didn't like him. They're putting him in the midfield right now, and I just didn't. I'm not a fan.
I'm just very confused with. So you have Martinelli, you have Gabriel when he comes back, or I don't know, who else would you even play there? Oh, Eddie and Nketiah would be.
Yeah.
And then you have Saka on one side.
But I think the plan was always to have Gabriel Jesus as our main guy in that position, like up top.
So
and
you think
Nketiah was a placeholder until he got back, and I think Nketiah doesn't fit our style because he's, in my opinion, he's a little too selfish. Like you watch him play, and you can tell he wants the glory, he wants to score the goals.
He's the goal scorer.
Yeah, but even like Gabriel Jesus is smart enough to understand when the opportunity is not his and when he has to like pass the ball, when he has to be smart. I think in Nketiah there was like times, and he's done better. Fair play to him because he's actually done better and he scored some goals for us, important goals. But I think before, like last season or like in the past, I feel like he's been one of those players that if he only gets 20 minutes, in those 20 minutes he's going to try and do everything that he can to score his goal. And I didn't like that. I didn't think that fits in with our system very well. But he has played pretty well in the last couple games, scored some good goals. So I think it's a good backup option. I just don't think Arteta really sees him as the guy for us.
Well, a good option off the bench. But so you think they got Kai to play in midfield?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they really got him to play as a target striker.
So you're looking at, because you look at those three guys, Martinelli, Saka, Gabriel, or Nketiah, whoever starts, and then you have Martin in behind, and now you have Kai. You're looking at half your team of, I don't want to say defensively.
Yeah,
like the balance is off with Kai.
Yeah.
You need to have another like.
I'm confused about that one.
Like Xhaka leaves, and fair enough.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, Declan Rice is in there, but
Declan Rice does the job for a lot of people.
he does. Declan Rice is legit.
If you watch him during the games,
He's legit.
He is legit. So I think that one was the best one that we got. I think Declan Rice by far was the best one that we got because even with Xhaka was good, but Xhaka was inconsistent. And towards the end of him being at Arsenal, he was actually a lot more consistent. You didn't have to worry about him too much. But for the most part of him being at Arsenal, you were always scared that there was going to be a red card or some crazy tackle or something where he was going to lose his head. I am very happy with where Arsenal finished in the transfer window. Declan Rice probably being the best one out of the guys we got. We got Jurriën Timber.
Who's out for the season.
Yeah, but I didn't know much about him, to be honest. So I didn't really, and I mean, he was only there for a little bit, and then he got hurt. So I don't really know too much about him. And then Raya from Brentford, which is weird when everyone's criticizing that one because he's a goalkeeper that needs to be number one, and we're bringing him up kind of as a backup. But Arteta did say he wanted two people in every position that were going to compete against, like for each other, not necessarily like a backup to the starting guy. He wanted competition in every position. A lot of people are criticizing it. We sent what's his name? I just forgot his name.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Turner.
Matt Turner. Yeah.
We sent Matt Turner to Nottingham. So
I think Ryan takes over.
You think so?
He's a ball. That's the criticism that Ramsdale has always had. He's not good with his feet, and where Arteta plays, Raya is like the perfect. But it's crazy because Ramsdale's been.
He's been very good.
He's been very good.
He's been very good.
Saves and whatnot. It's been tremendous.
And he took it well. He put a statement saying that like if he wasn't there to compete, like he's in the wrong sport. So he'll take it and he's gonna, try and keep his position. So that's pretty good. Everyone else around the league, there hasn't been too many crazy ones, to be honest. Like there's no. I mean,
I think the lower teams are getting good players and catching up to a lot of the other teams.
And then a couple of people left, like Harry Kane finally left Tottenham.
Yeah.
So Tottenham's without their main guy. Now they have Son. That's it.
Which I think makes them
better.
It's weird to say because you're losing 30 goals a season, but they've done really well so far.
Helps you adjust. You have to adjust because when you focus everything on the one playmaker guy or the one guy who's going to score all the goals for you, now when you don't have him, you have to kind of strengthen the whole team.
Richarlison's not the guy.
Yeah.
He
thinks he's the guy.
He thinks he's the guy.
He's not
the guy for Brazil. But if they can find somebody, a striker that I don't know, get you 15, 20 goals
Yeah.
a season, then they're gonna be really good. That fits like the system with the new coach and
Right.
everything. Because the first few games they're playing really well. They're dominating games and getting plenty of chances. Just a matter of somebody just finishing that off. And then you have Man City, who
They didn't get too many people. I mean, they got the defender, Guardiola, right?
yeah, center back playing on the left side.
Yeah.
It's
But
he's
Manchester
really
City,
good.
Manchester City don't need anybody this transfer window. Now that they've won the Champions League, now it's kind of just try and keep your squad, try and keep them happy, add a couple players here and there, but they're not looking like a lot of like Tottenham, for example. Tottenham are looking into the market. They're like, we need to find someone. Arsenal are still trying to be a little bit better. Liverpool as well. Like all these teams are still looking for one or two pieces that are going to make their team complete. Manchester City don't need anyone
But they just buy Doku 70 or 80 million just
because they can,
because they can.
but not because they need to.
Yeah, it's insane. That's crazy. I mean, you have Alvarez, you have Doku.
Speaking of that, I mean the rest of the Premier League is has been players in and out. A lot of players leaving to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on that, Georgie?
There's two ways to look at it. I mean, the first thing is, like Ruben Neves said it, like the best. Like I have a family, I have kids. I want to make sure they're set for life, and how can you argue with that? Like there's no
Yeah.
argument that you can say, no, that's not fair. No, you shouldn't do that. No, you're going there just for the money. Yeah, I mean that's literally why they're going there for the money. However, look at all the players that went after Ronaldo went.
Right.
That league is becoming
Yeah.
pretty good. Like you're not talking about like 3 or 4 players that are going there now. You're talking about 20 to 30 players that have won out to Saudi Arabia. Now every team has like 2 or 3, or for the most part every team have like 2 or 3 players that were like that could probably
Yeah.
start in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty like Ronaldo's team. You have Mane, you have Brozovic, you have so like Telles, you have so many like players that have played in World Cups, big games, Champions Leagues. So I don't know. It's like
I think people say that people treat it almost as if people are retiring there. It's like they're still playing, they're still competing, they're still doing what they enjoy doing. They're just not doing it in the highest levels, knowing that they can do it at a higher level, and they're not being. And I think people are also slightly upset about it because it's a league that you can't really watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not like the Premier League or the Bundesliga or all those leagues that are easily accessible. If it was another one of those leagues, I think it would be easy. I think people are just upset the fact that they're not going to get to watch them play anymore
their
because they're
favorite players.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and anyone who's criticizing them, if you were offered that amount of money, knowing that you could take care of your family and for generations to come as well.
It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, I do not. I think Ronaldo deserves more credit because people were criticizing him so much when he was the first one to do it, and now it's just like a normal thing. And now you're seeing young players, like young signings who are up and coming, who are really good players, are going there.
Yeah.
So I think that there's other criticisms to it as well, but you can't blame them for wanting to take more money.
Yeah, I mean, again, somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I'm doing it for my family. I want to make sure my kids are set for life." What can you actually say back to that? Like, there's nothing you can reply.
And they've done a good job of, like you said, bringing in so many players now that league is actually very legit. If you look at all of the top teams in that league and the players that they're bringing in, players that you're right, they're still at the top of their game. It's not like they're old and they just need a place to retire because they don't want to get their club doesn't want to renew their contract or anything like that. Clubs are actually upset in the Premier League and other places because they're being taken from them while they still want them to be there. So,
like, you have the Ballon d'Or winner playing Saturday. Like, you have Ronaldo, Benzema, Neymar, like Mane, like Henderson, Fabinho, like
it's a good league now. It's. I think it's probably just the difference between the top players and maybe some of the bottom players in that league. But I mean, give it another 4 or 5 years, and that league is going to be very competitive.
Yeah. Especially if they keep going at the same rate. Like it's just bound to happen. And I mean, they're asking to be in the Champions League. I have no idea how that's gonna.
There's an application process apparently, which is why they're asking for it.
It's very very
so
like.
I think that'll give them a little bit more credit, and people are going to be happier that they might see Ronaldo back in the Champions League.
Can you imagine Ronaldo wins the Champions League?
Like, he's not going to win the Champions League, but him playing against a team in the him playing against Manchester City in the Champions League.
That's insane.
Yeah.
The problem with, I mean, there's probably a lot of more problems than this, but Man City is not going to want to travel all the way to Saudi Arabia on a Wednesday night, then fly back Thursday, Friday, you have the game. Like, for those teams in Saudi Arabia, that's probably like, oh, sweet, we can go play, and they're probably still going to win their game on the weekend just because their teams are, like, stacked. Yeah. But you're talking about Man City, who's like, every point matters.
Right.
In the race for the Premier League. So
that's an interesting one, though, because it's happening so quickly, too. That takeover is happening so quickly. But the last topic before we end today's podcast really quickly is your boy at Inter Miami, Messi. Did you think he was going to be as dominant as he has been?
I honestly didn't. I did not.
You thought he was just going to... It's like a walk in the park?
The thing, it is a walk in the park, though. Like, it really is walking. Like, he is playing, but he's just... Like, there's a 2-minute clip of him just walking.
Yep.
Walking. And all of a sudden, he just, like, gets the ball, top of the box, and shoots.
Yep.
Score. It's like... It's good to see because, like, one, I don't watch the MLS at all. So, like, even as somebody that, like, loves soccer, I'm very passionate, like, I watch it on TV, I watch the Premier League. I haven't watched the MLS in a very long time. I just got Apple TV just for that reason.
Yep.
And I'm not going to watch any other game. Like, I'm just going to turn it on when Messi plays.
Right.
But it just, I don't know. I didn't expect it.
I thought he was just going to go and he was just going to be like one of those players that just like, can't be bothered to run, can't be bothered to defend, score a goal here and there, but like not really be anything special. And props to him because in his debut, he came on and he was excited, he was motivated, like he was running both ways, defending, attacking, and then gave the crowd the show that they were all expecting and even more so, and then continued that for all those games. I think it's just crazy to see. Because he's better than everyone else in the world. And so you think, what really, you always ask yourself the question, what is the difference between like Messi and Ronaldo and like the MLS when they're in their prime? And you actually get to see it when he's playing. Because, I mean, some of the passes that he's making, some of the goals that he's scoring, there's really nothing anybody can do.
No.
And so you think about the difference in like levels to this game, there's some serious levels. And when you got the highest level playing against levels that are not really that close, it's crazy to see the difference. So, David Beckham's loving it, of course.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
but it's funny to see, like, obviously you have like Jordi Alba there now. You have Busquets there.
They try to get Iniesta.
Yeah, like you're just, you can see when Jordi Alba gets the ball, he's just looking for Messi.
Yeah,
you can see when Busquets gets the ball, he's just looking for if you. I'm sure there's a stat of like how many passes they have between each other. It's probably like 70% of it in between all their passing.
It's crazy how they brought those players in specifically to make Messi happy.
Yeah.
But then not only that, they fired their coach, which is a good move because they were struggling, so they had to do it. But they brought in Tata Martino, who's also coached Messi and is from Argentina. Yeah. So everything that they're trying to do, I even saw like a statement from the mayor. And he was like, we are getting ready for Messi's arrival. We're making sure that like the roads and infrastructure and everything is ready for his arrival, which is crazy.
It's insane.
Which the bad part about it is now ticket sales are obviously, it's good that they're making all this money, but tickets are crazy expensive.
Well, $400 or $500 just to be on the top. Yeah.
And then on top of that, if Messi gets benched, everybody's unhappy because they're like, some people are paying $1,700, $2,000 for tickets, and then Messi gets benched. I think the last game he got benched for a little bit. So those are the negative parts about it. But the good thing is that, especially in the years leading up to the World Cup, this is a great way to increase the interest in the game. Because if you watch those Inter Miami games, you have all of the celebrities, people who don't know anything about soccer, football, people who don't know anything, and they're like, I'm here to watch Messi. I'm here to watch Messi. You got LeBron James, you got DJ Khaled,
DJ Khaled,
all these people, and they're like, I'm just here to watch Messi. The Kardashians are here. So it's a great way to increase interest. I think the deal works out well because Messi gets more money than he's ever needed in his life. Plus he gets shares of all, jerseys, and he gets shares of the Apple TV and all that stuff. And then it works out for for the MLS because they get all this money as well. I did the same thing. I bought Apple TV. I bought the MLS season pass or whatever. And you're right. I don't watch the MLS games. I'm going to be honest. I don't watch the other MLS games, but I watch when Messi plays against all these teams.
Yeah.
So
and it's crazy that we have Kim Man Moy.
Yeah.
That's going to be at some point next year because I don't think they play each other this year.
There's still quite a few games left, so I don't know. I got to check the schedule, but
I think I checked as soon as Messi was officially announced. But that's dope. Like at one point, Moy is gonna go up to Messi and be like.
And the cool thing about Messi is he comes to a place where although he's still recognized by everyone, it's not like in Spain or in France or in Argentina where he cannot leave his house without every single person on the street recognizing him. So I think there's times where if he goes to certain places,
he might be okay.
He'll still get asked for autographs and stuff, but it won't be like everyone mobbing him. You know, some people will be like, "Oh, who's that guy?" Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a little bit better for his lifestyle too. But it is definitely fun to watch, and the fact that he's actually putting in effort and trying, and he's happy. So.
I mean, it seems like he's happy. His family's happy. Like it seems like they're really, taking it in, and of course, it's nice to see.
Think about that. You've conquered everything that there is to conquer in football. Literally everything.
Yeah.
There's not a single thing that he's like, man, I wish I would have won that. He's won it all. And then on top of that, you're gonna get more money than you've ever imagined. So it's not like you're taking a pay cut. And then on top of that, you're going to Miami.
Yeah.
So I mean, they can go to the beach whenever they want. They can live the dream. So there's no drawbacks to it.
Yeah,
other than for the other teams who just keep getting their asses kicked by Inter Miami. Now all of a sudden it's the best team in the league when they were the worst team in the league.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to get in the playoffs.
They have it's going to be very difficult, and I think he's probably going to be missing for some of the games probably. Because
he's not going to play on turf, is he?
No, he said he said in an interview that he's going to adjust and he's willing to make that adjustment. I think probably getting called up to the national team, he might miss a couple things because the MLS. I don't know if the MLS stops or not during international break, but I don't think they do.
I don't think so.
So I think they're going to miss a couple games. He's going to miss a couple games for that. So it's going to be tough for them to do it. But if he stays next year, they're in the playoffs for sure. Yeah. And when you got Busquets and Jordi Alba, and they're going to get one or two more. Yeah, I think they said Suarez. They're going to wait until next year for Suarez, right? So when you do that,
the band is back together.
The band is back together, and when the band is back together, they're typically happy and they play good. Yeah. They play well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the podcast after almost a year of being MIA. It was Georgie's fault because Liverpool was having an
It was not my
fault. It was definitely Georgie's fault.
Liverpool was winning it all. That's all that matters.
So just make sure you guys leave any comments down below about topics for the next podcast if you want us to bring some guests on or whatever. But I think that's it for today, Georgie.
That's it.
We're back, next baby.
We're back.
We're back. We'll see you guys in 3 years when we restart it again. All right. Have a good one, everyone.